Thank you very much. America, thank you very much. America, thank you very much. We have thousands of murderers that Biden and his incompetency, first of all, he's grossly incompetent, but that Biden and his people and his probably autopen, it looked like we had an autopen for a president, and we would have been better off if we had probably. But it looks to me like, you know, that's a big subject. I'm sure you won't ask about that, but the whole subject of autopen, did he know what he was doing? Did he authorize it? Or is this somebody in an office, maybe a radical left lunatic, just signing whatever that person wants? That's not what it's all about. I never use it. I mean, we may use it as an example to send some young person a letter, because it's nice, you know, we get thousands and thousands of letters and letters of support for young people, for people that aren't feeling well, etc. But to sign pardons and all of the things that he signed with an autopen is disgraceful.
The president also claimed overnight that the pardons issued by former President Biden are void for the January 6th committee members, but the pardon power in the Constitution for the president is absolute.
It is, and by the way, that there's no indication that President Biden signed these with an autopen. That's what President Trump is arguing, that this were signed with an autopen and therefore they're not valid. We don't know that they were signed with an autopen, but even if they were, it's unclear that that would be an issue. In fact, President Bush back in 2005, the White House did a study on this and determined that even orders signed with an autopen are valid orders. That proposition's never been tested in court. I guess the big question here, though, George, is does this imply that that President Trump wants to actually prosecute members of the January 6th committee?
This is what I advocate for. Somebody finna be made an example out of. Somebody got to be walked out with their hands behind their back. Y'all know what I advocate for, man. People got to be in handcuffs, fired, sued, and made an example out of. And our president is stomping the ground. Yeah, we shutting down them pardons. Look at this. Look at this. Look. Yeah, they woke up shaking out their boots this morning. Democrats are waking up right now, shaking up out their boots. It's happening. We shutting it down, pencil neck. We shutting it down, warmongers. We shutting it down. You lied. Yeah, it was weaponized. It was a witch hunt. Yeah, somebody got to be walked out and made an example out of, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it, President Trump. I'm here for it. Void everything. I'm here for it. I couldn't wait to get into this video. Somebody got to be walked out, man. Thrown in handcuffs. Thrown in jail. Thrown in prison. Woo!
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Go in there and check on the president. What is he in there doing? He in there hitting a punching bag. Working on his golf swings. He don't go to sleep? Oh no, he does not go to sleep. He's in there. He's sharp as a tack. God bless President Trump, man. Prayers for Trump, y'all, and the Trump administration. It is going down. You know, Democrats woke up this morning to the worst news yet. Worst news yet, I'm telling you. The approval rating already dropped to the all-time low yesterday, a couple hours ago. I mean, it just gets worse for them. And I told y'all, they not effing around. But the auto pen is trending worldwide. Trump voids pardons, Biden's pardons. You know, pardon his whole family before he walked out, 15 minutes before he walked out. A disgrace. You wouldn't need a pardon if you are not guilty. Simple as that. Did Trump need a pardon? Did he have to pardon his family? No. You wouldn't need a pardon if you are not guilty. you know. But what's going on, family? I hope everybody is blessed, well, healthy, and that nothing but the best is going on in you beautiful people's life, man. Let me know how y'all feel about this down, but we finna jump into this right now. If you're new here, join the family. I know we have people across the globe, people that love and support the channel, people that love and support President Trump, America, you know, from different time zones, different countries, different zip codes, states, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I hope everybody's having an amazing day so far, an amazing week, an amazing start to the week. For most of us, it's Monday. You know what I'm saying? Starting the week off strong. And here it is. Here it is, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That 2025 is going to be an amazing year. And here it is. I want to go up to what he said. And Tim Pool said, oh, Trump says Fauci and family pardons are void. Yeah, that mass murder. But this is what Trump said. The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselected committee of political thugs. Political thugs! And many others are hereby declared void. Bam! Boom! He shot the gun. Our president shot the gun right there. Let me put this on full. Let me go full screen with y'all real quick. Full screen. Y'all can see this full screen. We got to go full screen. Where am I at? Please put me on the screen. There we go. All right. All right. Are declared void. Vacant for no other force or effect because of the fact that they were done by an auto pen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them. More importantly, he did not know anything about them. Yeah, we know. He sleep on vacation. Didn't know what was going on. Man was declining week 1 of his presidency. A disgrace. You know. The necessary pardon documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them and the people that did may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the unselected committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtaining during their witch hunt of me, more other innocent people should fully understand they are subject to investigation at the highest level. Full-blown investigation. And this is what I've been calling for the longest. They've been talking about it. They sent Jim Jordan out there. They sent James. They sent all these people out there saying, we got what we need. There's going to be an investigation. They just talking. We need action. They sent them fellas out there. Y'all got it. All right. We need actions now. Full-blown investigation. But Trump says the fact is they probably were responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge of consent of the worst president in the history of our country, Crooked Joe Biden. Woo! There it is, family. And this has broke the internet. Here's a clip of the reporter of talking about the pardons in the auto pen right here. Says good night to everyone who's happy that President Trump voided the pardons. Woo! We just keep winning. Legacy media is having a meltdown right now for President Trump claiming Joe Biden's presidential pardons are void. The fake news is claiming there is no indication Biden signed them with auto pen. Actually, there is. The J6 committee members are now in very serious legal trouble. Whoa! Oh, man. I tell you, family. It's time for justice, they say. It's time for justice. The United States of America has been operating without a president for 4 years and was being run by the deep state and an auto pen, apparently. A good starting point for Pam Bondi in the treason would be Kamala, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, according to Mike Johnson. Oh, boy. Let's check out what Mike had to say, man.
Up on the faces of some of this, in some ways I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story when you say personal observation? What kind
well,
of thing did you see?
It's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked, I became speaker in October 2023, and there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on, and I started requesting a meeting with the president because, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest in calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him, and his staff kept giving excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, we know about the bombshell report that came out. You know, couldn't even have a meeting with the guy. They sent him off. On vacation, fell asleep, taking a nap. He was mentally declining. First week he was in there, a bombshell report came out. Y'all seen the reports, you know. But hey. Woo!
He doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. We had, I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill press corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush, because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, you know, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, oh, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office, right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. You know, this is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, you know, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine, because they got to get their gas from him, you know. And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order, like, you know, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully.
This kind of just like blew, like, man, boom. This is my first time seeing this. This might be some of y'all's first time seeing this clip, but this is my first time seeing this clip. So right now, I'm kind of flabbergasted, but I'm not surprised. I'm flabbergasted, but it's like, you know, we've covered, you know, we already know he wasn't running the country. We already know he was just their little puppet. We already know this, you know. But man, an executive order went out, and he had no idea. Family, you cannot make this up, man. An executive order went out from the president, but he didn't know that it went out. Boy, somebody got to be thrown in jail. I tell you, man.
Could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our.
And then he got called and tried to help. I tell you, man, it's a disgrace, man.
Our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing, because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country?
Who is running the country, man? Let me go back to my regular mode. Who is running the country? What a disgrace, man. I tell you, you just can't make this up, man. You just can't, you know? You just can't make this up, man.
The president also claimed overnight that the pardons issued by former President Biden are void for the January 6th committee members, but the pardon power in the Constitution of the president is absolute.
It is, and by the way, there's no indication that President Biden signed these with an autopen. That's what President Trump is arguing, that these were signed with an autopen and therefore they're not valid. We don't know that they were signed with an autopen, but even if they were, it's unclear that would be an issue. In fact, President Bush back in 2005,
ABC News.
The White House did a study on this and determined that even orders signed with an auto pen are valid orders. That proposition's never been tested in court. I guess the big question here, though, George, is does this imply that that President Trump wants to actually prosecute members of the January 6th committee?
There we go. Say it out loud. Say it out loud and proud. Say it again. Woo! That's what I mean. That's what I want to see. That's what them Patriots want to see. We want to see somebody that's walked out with their hands behind their back, thrown in jail. You know, Nancy Pelosi's daughter filmed it. Check it out.
Camera is at a secure location.
And we seen what she said in the car. Do I got to pull up the car clip? Yeah, we seen what she said in the car. That's the first one I want held accountable. This lady here, Miss Pelosi, grab her and that walker she's still walking through on. Yeah, throw the walker in the back of the trunk, throw her in the back seat. Don't take her down to the station.
To finish the proceedings, or else it will have a complete victory.
Senator Schumer is at a secure location, and they're locked down in the Senate.
There has to be some way we can maintain the sense that people have that there's some security or some confidence that government can function and that we can elect the President of the United States. Did we go back into session?
We did go back into session, but now apparently everybody on the floor is putting on tear gas masks to prepare for a breach. Well, I'm trying to get more information.
They're putting on their
tear gas masks.
You believe this? You believe this?
We need an area for the House members. They're all walking over now through the tunnels.
Effing Secretary of DOD.
Yeah.
We have some senators who are still in their hideaways. They need massive personnel now. Can you get the Maryland National Guard to come too?
I have something to say, Mr. Secretary. I'm going to call the mayor of Washington, D.C. right now and see what
him in jail.
Other outreach he has to other...
We knew it was a setup, an inside job. We knew what it was from the beginning. We knew what this was. These criminals. And they still walking around smiling, laughing, and giggling. Yeah. Don't get them.
Department's attention. In order to come into another jurisdiction... Okay, thank you, Governor. I appreciate what you're doing. Of the National Guard. They're breaking windows and going in, obviously ransacking our offices and all the rest of that. That's nothing. The concern we have about breaking the law could at least...
You got evacuate and pull
these criminals
out.
I don't want to speak for the leadership that's going to be responsible.
Or the White House, or someone figure out how we can get this to the state. The overriding wish is to do it at the Capitol. What we are being told very directly is it's going to take days for the Capitol to be okay again.
Good news.
Yeah, throw him in jail. Throw him out. Yeah, man. I want them to be all held accountable. I really do, y'all. I really do, man. You know. But there it is, man. TikTok. Gunther says, TikTok, the hammer of justice is coming. Woo! Holy smokes. Trump says the pardons that Biden gave are void because they were done by an auto pen. Where's fake news CNN? Where's fake news CNN at? I know we had CNN pulled up. Got fake news CNN. Fake news CNN. We got fake news CNN pulled up.
And breaking overnight, a new, different possible constitutional showdown. This morning, President Trump is claiming that the sweeping pardons that President Biden issued before leaving office are, quote, hereby declared void. Trump asserts it is because of the fact that they were done by autopen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, Trump says he did not know anything about them. With us now is former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Solin, who is with us by phone. Jeremy, I'll keep on looking this way.
They walked a skeleton around, a vegetable around for 4 years. Didn't know what the hell was going on. Yeah. Executive orders went out. This went out. He didn't even know nothing. He didn't know what he signed. Then it most likely wasn't even signed by him or signed by the autopen. Man, you know. But you see the difference now. You see Trump, he got the camera on him 24/7. You actually see him sign an executive order. Man, you know, talk about transparency. You know, they're in there having full-blown negotiations, kicking people out of there. Zelensky, you got to get out, sir. They kicked him out live on air. He came for some money. He came for a check. They gave him a reality check. Yeah, buddy. I tell you, you know, talk about transparency. And we actually have a president. Man.
Here. So talk to me about this. Jeffrey Toobin, our friend, just wrote a terrific book on pardons and notes that it is probably among all the president's powers, the one that is most unchallengeable, the one that is most absolute. If President Biden pardons someone, President Trump can't unpardon them.
Yeah, that's generally a fair statement, and there's nothing in the law and the Constitution that says explicitly it has to be signed. So, you know, he's going after President Biden's faculties, but, you know, the question is what this is setting up for. This is just an effort to maybe make an extended version of going after other things as well, though one would think that President Trump should think this through, because if successful, that means that his potential pardons, whomever they may be, can be challenged in a similar manner down the road. So certainly there's an issue here, but you're correct. This is a pretty liberal right or ability of the president.
And again, the issue of autopens. Autopens are things that presidents have used for decades, often to sign legislation and orders. Does the use of an autopen make anything more or less legitimate than signing it by your own hand?
It does not, and I believe this has been back since roughly Truman that auto pens have been used, you know, give or take. So this is something that is not new. This is not technologically an advancement that, wait a second, now the president needs to go to the Court of Appeals and up to the Supreme Court to say, hey, can you use an auto pen? This is a power grab, for lack of a better term, by the president, you know, to effectuate whether that's revenge after people he doesn't like on the January 6th committee,
revenge,
you know, Jack Smith specifically, or Fauci. One doesn't know.
That mass murder,
his ends, whatever they may be.
What happens then if investigations, if someone does try to commence a legal investigation into someone who was pardoned by President Biden? If President Trump does follow through with this, how does it get stopped or sanctioned?
Well, you know, ultimately it could find themselves in the court, but in a court of law. But one of the issues that I think everyone should be concerned about is the rule of law has to mean something, and we're seeing challenges to birthright. Just moments ago, talking about whether or not the deportations are legal and they have to be followed by the court's order, or the Trump administration will do what it deems it wants to do. So ultimately, it may find itself in the court, but it should never be there in the first place. There's a rule of law. There is a pardon. There's certainly questions whether you can pre-pardon someone. I understand that, but this is not the means to effectuate it by just blanketly saying at a tweet at night or a Trump True Social at night that they must be vacated.
Pushing the boundaries of the law and Constitution every which way. Jeremy Salant, thank you very much for all of your analysis on this.
CNN.
Mark Preston, to you, this pardon issue. Donald Trump, the president, claiming the ability to unpardon someone. Emily Hodig says, not even dead on arrival, dead before arrival. But why do you think President Trump is doing that overnight? Again, politically.
Again, let's go back to Donald Trump is going to throw everything against the wall, and some of it is going to stick and some of it is not. What could have happened last night is somebody might have mentioned something to him about the J6 committee. It could have been any number of things that just infuriated Donald Trump. But I will tell you this, and I don't think people, I want to go back to the word underestimation, is that Donald Trump is incredibly powerful right now, and his ability to steamroll Democrats is only making him more powerful. I will say, though, to Errol's point, a year from now, when we see all these cuts and where they've taken place across the country, that's where Republicans, specifically on the ballot in the midterms, they're going to have a problem.
It is interesting, Errol, that we saw all this activity on immigration, albeit that has been a main focus of President Trump throughout this administration. But the deportation is very public, very flashy. You see this social media post overnight, very public, very flashy about unpardoning people, coming at a time when there's been a lot of focus on the economy, a lot of public focus on the stock market, wondering if he's trying to maybe draw focus from something that may be something of a dark spot for his administration.
I mean, there's a policy, you can almost call it like the political flashbang strategy of the White House, where they'll say, we want to buy Greenland. Oh, we want to annex Canada. Oh, we want to turn, Gaza into a Mediterranean resort. And it's trash, right? It's not serious. It's not going to happen. You have to keep an eye out, because some of the talk about January 6th was just talk until he summoned a mob, Donald Trump did. But
there you go.
With that caveat, a lot of this is just intended to distract us, because as you're pointing out, the main issue, and ultimately it will always be the main issue when you're talking about elections, is the economy and what's happening with it, and the management of the markets, and the tariff question that he's put on the table, and the costs that he has inflicted, and the mass firings of federal workers. That's what he doesn't want us to talk about. He wants us to talk about, hey, is he going to unpardon a bunch of people?
You see how he spin it and twist it, and the distraction. They don't want to talk about how things are coming down. They don't want to talk about what's actually going on in the economy. They don't want to talk about what the tariffs are actually doing. What's going on in real time. But this is the distraction. This trash. This cornball on CNN. CNN, fake news. That's why I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. I'm sorry, y'all. I cannot deal with that, man. They're just waiting. They're not gonna waste my time. And they're not gonna waste my family members' time on the channel as well either. CNN. I can't. But he's the bad man, orange man, bad man. Sends a tweet out late at night. He in there punching the bag. Yeah, buddy. But there it is, y'all. We've been operating without a president for 4 years. And now we actually have a president. Things are actually happening in real time. And a lot of things that's happening good, they don't want to mention it. They don't want to speak about it, and that's what really needs to be talked about, man. They don't want to speak about how we're, and even people, I got to pull up the poll. Even the fake news admitted that people say we are off in the right direction now, that Trump has turned this big ship around, But I'm ready to see people held accountable, thrown in jail, walked out, fired, sued. I'm ready to see people held accountable. Look at this mass murder. Yeah, I'm ready, man. It's ridiculous, man, what is taking place, man. It really is. Biden's last day in office. That right there. His last day in office. Can't make that up, man. Cannot make it up. Look at that dingleberry up there. Yeah. But hey, let me know what y'all think of this. I love y'all. We're gonna be bringing some more updates throughout the week on this situation. We'll see what else takes place from this. Right now the legacy meter is melting down. Democrats shaking out their shoes, and our president right now is hitting the punching bag, working on his golf swings. I don't know what he's doing, man, but he's sharp. He is sharp. Oh, man, I'm here for it. Yeah. Overturn it, full-blown investigation, and somebody got to be held accountable. Simple. I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. And again, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and follow your boy. You see down there, follow your boy. Right on my X page, man. Follow me on my X page. It's OkayRickk. I am verified on there. Follow your boy on X, and I will follow you back. I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, family.